Let's get into the story. Let's go. What's going on? Okay, by kinyonim is a klal. So there's halachis regarding transactions. There's a klal. In order to sell something, you need to, or to buy something, it needs to actually exist at the time that you're selling it. So if it's not in existence, so you can't buy it, you can't sell it, you can't buy it. So far,
We learn computer, so many people selling stuff before they have it.
it's called futures.
Yeah, but
Futures.
you don't know that he doesn't have it. I'm selling this and this. He has a site and everything. You want to click, you click yes there, you send get it. Now he has like 24 hours to get it cheaper and sell it. But you don't know that the guy don't have it. Yeah, but
No,
yes.
hold on. The it's not that you can't sell, you can't buy it. The real question is, can the original person say no, I don't want to sell it?
After you pay?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Okay, next time.
That's really
No,
the
sure,
what
no,
it
no,
gets.
no.
Okay, but
Right.
the fire started in as a meiche Paris dekel lechavere ede de Paris haben angeheben wachsen jochelachser boy af lachser boy a Paris leilon. Right. So what? So you daf given is makna haguf le Paris, but going in Paris is there in as in the makna dover shle balon sharia guf matzu makna dem guf Paris. So what's going on? You want to sell, let's say, a tree or the Paris. So you're not gonna you if you want to sell the Paris of the tree and the Paris don't exist yet. So even if you're gonna say, hey, here I'm selling you the Paris for $100 until the Paris don't exist, you could always back out of the deal because it didn't exist yet. So it's as if the deal wasn't even put into right. Right,
And
very
even
good.
when the parents is already there, now the parents is here, you still could go back. After the house, your parents later.
Right, even after. Yeah, right. So what do you do? So the way to get away with this issue is to that you're selling the tree for the Paris, which means you're not going to sell the actual tree. You don't want to sell the tree. You want to keep the tree. But what are you doing? You want to sell the tree that is in existence currently, but for whatever will be created, whatever will grow through the tree. So you do have access to the tree. You just don't have access to the pears yet because they didn't grow yet. So then you're able to get bypass this issue of because the tree actually exists already. So Dr. Rambam, fine. So what does the Rambam say? As the din ha hektish, the din ha'anim, the din hanidorim, any kedin hadid bikin yasik. So the Rambam mentions that with regards to when someone hektish, which is
Magdi's door shall go. I'm Magdi's that forever my cow gonna have baby in a have, it's gonna be having.
right,
Oh, there's no baby yet.
right, or giving tzedakah. So in such instances, you still, even though it didn't exist yet, because you're saying that it will happen. It's not here yet, but still you have to obey. You have to obey what you mentioned, what you swore. You can't go back on what you said with regards. I'll go back on your word in regards to heck.
If you say bli neder, I will sell you the parrot that's going to be from the string. Bli neder.
It seems like that. Then you don't have to, because really the issue is going back on your word.
What's bli neder mean? If the
Bli neder means not
makes parrot, we're selling it to you.
right. Yeah, I hear. Yeah, maybe with bli neder is also able to get out of this, but I didn't look in the halacha, so I didn't look in the whole sugya. Okay, so right? Anything that my behema will give birth to, those things, those children will be hektish. Yet not only staka afu b'sheinu miskadish lefish she'enu be'ilam arzechav l'kaim dvorei. But still, kichol hayetzim piv yaseh. And still, it says in Torah that whatever comes out of your mouth, you have to do. So it says avapias af dem teifet she'enu be'ilam, something that didn't even exist yet. Can the hektish nitchal sein? So the hektish can't be in charge of it, can't take ownership of it. Und deswegen is a chal achio of an gavra, but still the person himself l'kaim dvoroi midin neder. Right. So the even hektish is not taking ownership of those animals because those animals don't exist yet. So it's not able to it's not able to be coined, so because it didn't exist yet. But you have another issue of that the person himself has a field to listen to what he says, to actually, midin neder. Okay. Drama is enough mamshich, but then he also mentions v'hoyel v'adover kenim v'adover kein im tziva adam kishu shkiv meram, kind of like what we're in a way it has to do with what you were saying. With regards to Shchiv Meram, someone that's actively dying, someone that's on the deathbed, and he says that anything that sprouts from this tree goes to poor people. So the Aniyim do actually
and the Ilan was his?
The Elon was his, but the whatever was Yaitse, the Paris didn't exist yet. Huh? Because later on it's the children's, right? Yeah, it's a good point. Right. So then it must be right before they sprout, because if someone's active, okay, whatever. Right. Well, I mean, a hospice technically is 6 months, and people live for more than 6 months. People even go out of hospice. So I don't know. I don't know how this works. I don't know what Shkimira. I mean, actively dying. Whatever. Okay, good.
And if he didn't say, he wrote it down in the will and said, this Ilan, the Anim, and the other thing is for my kids.
That's different. That's not like a Shkimira.
No, the Shkimira wrote down, etc.
Oh, that he doesn't have to. It's not about saying it. If it's
Here we said he's saying. If he didn't say,
no, that's a separate issue. That's that we're talking about hektish. We're talking a separate thing about shemir. Okay, yes, goinim. So then the Rambam actually says that there are goinim shecholkin ladovazeh, that they disagree with this premise. Goinim she'ein anim zeichin alon shahediyat koine bahem. That the poor people can only be zeicha with things that actually they're able to grasp at the time. And therefore, if it didn't exist at that time, they don't get it. But my thought process brings me to not be pushed by these theories. So he actually, what you were saying, maybe with writing down is not this issue. Maybe it has to be in words, because if it's about a neder is with words. That's right. If you say it, if you just write it down, I mean, if he's signing it, it's
another question. Do you need Adam when he's saying that?
Do you need
that two people heard him that he's saying this tree is.
Well, if it has to do with kinyonim, there has to be Edom.
It has to be.
Because not that it has to be. I'm just saying that what does this even mean?
Exactly.
Meaning what's this? How is this even a halach? What's the practical application of this? Is that it could get to a bezdin of a fight of who gets the payers. Mm-hmm. So what happens? One person says that, hey, the Shchiv Merah says that the Aniyim could have it. So then the Bezdin will say, well, prove it to me that this is true. So then they're going to need Aiden. Not that you need Aiden.
To prove it, yeah.
It's just you need to prove it. Okay. So this is, I really liked this. This was actually very interesting. Usually by Sichos of the Rebbe starts off with a lot of Nigla or Rashi, and he delves into it, and he goes from all different scenarios, and then at the end is Yeno Sholteira. But over here, the Rebbe right away speaks about what does this have to do in Hayro, in Avodah B'Poel. What do these halachas have to do? So that's This is cool. Okay, Schengere kam Pommen. Als jeder Allah und Teira in Zugab zu Erteuchen Pschutoi, hat sie euch a Teura, a Hairo, in Avoido Ruchnis. In Bloschen Aram, an Eiza, in an ihnen von Tikkun Hadeus. Roiv din Teira, in il Eitzis, Sakan Hadeus, Uliasha Kolamaisim. Right, as the Rebbe mentioned many times, that this when Torah when there's different halachas, it's not just telling us what in practical the bare bones halacha, practical halacha. It's not just that and how we need to act, but also it's to refine our character, to tell us how we should be acting in day-to-day life. So also with regards to our case, so in this about transactions and acquiring things, it has to also have a practical lesson in our day-to-day life in our Avodas Hashem. So first, der Chiluk zwischen Hamoiche Peres Dekel oder Ilan Leperes. So we already mentioned that there's a difference between if you're going to sell pears that didn't exist yet, or you're going to sell the tree for the pears that will be in existence in the future. So that we already see that there's a difference between that in halacha. And second, der Chiluk von Rahmen zwischen din ha'etit b'kinyasoi, shein odom mitzav la'aknis, und din ha'hektish v'din ha'aniyim. By welche der Odom is mitzav l'kaim tvorov, and the fire is mechuyev l'kaim tvorov, oich b'shaychis to adover shaloi bala ilam. And secondly, we see that the Rambam already is separating, right? It's the Rambam that's separating the two. That we see we can see we see that there's a difference between something that's hektish or for anim. Those things, even if it's not bala'ilim, but still you have to obey what you said in your neder. But with something that is just a hedyot, something that's not in connection with hektish or for anim, those areas in those cases, you could still pull back. You could still get out of your out of the transaction because the fruit didn't exist yet. So all of these have to do with also our service to our Creator. So base the toichin hakloli von avodas Hashem. What's the purpose and what are we actually doing when we're doing what Hashem wants? Is machan akinyin der yid is makne zich v'chol asher loi zum Eibishtin. What does this mean when we say that we are selling ourselves? We are having Hashem acquire us. What does that mean? That we're giving ourselves. A yid is giving of himself and all of him and everything that he has to Hashem. As a sein nicker, it should be obvious as und als was farmak sein bershusoi ubevailusoi shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that all of him and anything that he wants, anything that's important to him, is all for Hashem, and Hashem is the owner and in charge of his life. So how do we see this? How do we see this in our actual day-to-day life? Is through our actual deeds, the way of life we have in both in action, in speech, and in thought, is alamo kafi ritzayne shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is always according to the wants of Hashem. The Shloimer actually, Hashem, the Shloimer. So the Rebbe actually says, "Shezotig lashon Chazal ani nevresi l'shamishes koini." Right? Usually Chassidus sits or medayik on ani nevresi, but here the Rebbe is pushing the word of koini, veloy as boiri, what does this mean? You would think that Anidu Reisi, I was created Lashamish to write Nivresi means created. So obviously it's to be Mashamish, my creator. But no, he's saying Lashamish as Koini. While durch dem Shimush, right? I'm serving, I'm doing what Hashem wants, viert sich ois, und wenn es gala der Inin as der Eibishter is Koinoi. And not just that Hashem created me, but also that Hashem owns me. Und das, as der Yid is kinyon noi, shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that kumen lidei gilui b'shleimus la'asad lavi. When Mashiach will come, we'll see this fully. Ka'amur by the Yehudei Hagula, one of the promises, one of the right of Geula by Yom Ahu Yosef Adnai Gomer Liknois is Shar, right? Father Chesed made says some time. Amzu Konisa, right? In the Shira we say Amzu Konisa, that Hashem acquired us. Und in dem Kinyan, was Yid is sich magnet zum Eberstein, seine von einer zwei Erfahrung dark is Kinyan Naguf, the Kinyan Peres, right? Getting back to what we were speaking about before, that there's a difference between the Guf, which is like the tree, and then the Peres, which is the offshoots, the it's like the cause and the effect, right? The tree creates the Peres. Without the tree, Paris wouldn't exist, and the point of the tree is to create the Paris. So now, what is it in a person? Guf is their nefesh. Guf is their nefesh. V'guf shalom. V'akoyches shalahem. Koylu der seichel shav mayach u'midas shavalev v'chol akoychos koylu koycham. Shava dibur v'mais. Right? Who am I? This one means like my myself, my guf, myself, which includes within it my thought, my intellect, not my thoughts. It's more like my intellect and my guess emotions and any powers that I have, any possibilities that I'm able to have. That's what it. I mean, let's say if I have a good koich hamachshava or dibur or maisa, that's like the koich, the power to do those things. But then, what are the peiros? What are caused by these koiches? Seien die peulis durch die evorim und levushe hanefesh. Die machshavos, which are the machshavos diburim umaisim shal adam, like the Maimer Chazal as peiros or Tzaddik mitzvahs umaisim teimu. Welche wachsen arois von dem seichel midas v'kerech shal adam. Right? If someone is has a talent for thought, so then that's going to create certain thoughts. So too with any other talent or power that the person has. So that's like the machshava dibra maisa, right? If someone is able has the quality of art, so then that's going to create the actual the actual art that he's going to make. So that's an action, but it's created based on his koichos. Okay. Well, das ist dem Chiluk zwischen, right? So his koichos are more inherent in his psyche, like who he really is. This is who he is, not how he's reacting or interacting with others or showing his talents. It's really himself. His talent is more him to himself. So that's like a tree vis-a-vis the peiros. Peiros are more how he's using his talents, how he's using the possibilities of his existence. Okay. Und das ist der Chiluk zwischen Kinyan Peiros und Kinyan Haguf in Avodas Adam L'Koinai. Right. So before we mentioned that there's such a thing as Kinyan Haguf, right? Well, we'll get to it. There's a difference between selling or acquiring the peiros of the Ilan or acquiring the tree itself. So what does this mean in Avodas Adam? Kinyan Peiros meant, what's Kinyan Peiros? Ayid is magnet zum Eberstein, alle seine Machshavos diburim umaisim. Anyway, any way he uses his qualities, right? Was seien die Peiros von einer Likutei oder Ushel. Is vollständig aufgehit in dem Allen. He's fully in control of all these, right? As ein Machshav dibur ma'aser sollen allemal sein behitten zum Ratzon Hashem. But Lashon Tanya, like the Tanya said, when you get the Darga von Abeinoni, that what lo yavar aviru miyomav, lo yavar lo ilam, lo nikra lov shem rasha. Afilu shah achatz v'rega echad kol yomav. right? This is all dealing with the Peres, the way he interacts with the world, which how he uses his existence, his psyche, his talents, which is through machshava dibur ma'isa.
According to Tanya, most of us Benoni, huh?
הלוואי.
שהוא לא עבר עבירי מימיו, ולא יעבור לעולם.
לא יעבור.
That's כתוב.
הוא forgot most of that you're Benoni?
I hope. I try. Benoni is a big מעלה. One of the biggest, no? ולא נקרא עליו שם רשע.
Aber der Golf, da in sein Etzema Seichel, Amidis Vakoicho, ist nicht Nickne geworden zum Eberstein. But this Benoni, he's still, it's not, Hashem does not have a jurisdiction fully over himself, over his psyche, over his feelings or thought or capacity to think. Yes, okay. He's gonna the Rebbe is gonna define what that means. Sein Moyach und Hart seien nicht befreit von dem Abschorius vom Achshavas Minis und Taibes. Right, this whole time that the Beinoni is fully doing everything that Hashem wants in action and in thought and in speech, that all is still doesn't reach to the level that he doesn't have the chance to do something wrong. It's not like he's going to stop having a pull to something wrong. It's not like if he holds himself back from being angry his entire life, it's not that he's going to stop having the pull to be angry. It just means that he'll never be angry, like in action. So he's pushing himself not to be that way, but not that he's inherently not an angry person anymore, or doesn't have the capacity to be angry.
It's not the tree, it's the pears.
Right. Yeah. But he'll get to, the Rebbe will say actually that the Benoni still has at certain points. We'll get there. Okay. Was der Wecken sich in Herz und kommen auf in Moyachulu, right? It's not that the pulls to something wrong in the heart to actually get to his Moyach. But there, nor hat das Schlitte von Yitzhahara und Lust nicht als die Midis Reus und Taivis sollen kommen bepeult zum Ausdruck in Machshava Dibur Maisa. Right? So he just holds himself back from getting to that level that he's going to, here's the...
Control the Machshava.
Yeah. Und Kinin Aguf is der Avoide von a Tzaddik. What does a Tzaddik do? Was is machen zum Beispiel euch dem Etzem von Seichel al-Midis. He becomes a completely different person. Durch dem, was ist mevatel dem Etzem von sein Yitzhahara und von dem Etzem Seichel al-Midis Roy Shabalev v'deko ha-koiches.
The Kolakoiches.
Udechol ha-koiches. Bis as im Glust sich nor Sachen von Teuve Klusha. He gets to a point that he has no pull, he has no drive to do something wrong. He's fully tukdusha. He's never even going to have something that's going to push him to start holding himself back from doing the wrong thing. He won't even get to that point. He completely turned around all his drives, all his right. Not just machshava d'maisa, but they will never even get to that point. So that's like the guf. That's like the whatever the cause is that's causing the possibility of the machshava d'maisa. That the tzaddik already got to that level that even the cause was changed. Even so, by then it's kind of like sinura, over Hashem sinura, that he's like disgusted even by the Yitzhahara. It is not even. There's not even a pull to be like to act on the Yitzhahara. Okay. While there is makne dem guf shal sichlum umidas v'shabalev v'chulu to mebishtin seine perish shalei machshav d'maisa der p'meila kon to mebishtin. Right. So obviously everything else is going to be Hashem's. And that him leichem sein. It's not like he has to do something. He has to actively try to hold himself back from doing something against Hashem. By him is his heart doesn't even get to that level. It's page 3.
Like similar people with small dogs, people with small dogs, right? And that's stop. We that we don't stop, and you don't even have a time to smoke it. And if you have to walk and stop. Something like Tzaddik.
Right, that's why each person has.
Doesn't even have a time to make something work. Nothing.
That's why it's good to have friends and to have Fabrengens, because chances are that around the table, some people are tzaddikim in certain areas, and some people are beinonim in other areas, and some people are rishonim le'aleinu in other areas. But then between the whole group, people could help each other out in the different areas. Good. It's fine. Das ist eine von die Beorim, für was der Tzaddik wird angerufen, Eved Hashem. Right? Really, Tanya usually says, what's an Eved? Eved is someone that works. If he's not...
The Balabait training the Eved, he's training his walk or he's training his body? The move from the Eved.
Right, he doesn't even have he's so submitted to his master that he doesn't even have a pull to do something other than what the master.
He's not only for himself. Everything is for his voice.
Yeah. So it's not like he has to think. Oh, I mean, if he's okay, we'll get there. Abin Hashem, Val Abdus is an Indian from Kinna Guf, right? Guf is Shela Avid is Kanan Rabbi over there from Mela called Kanan Rabbi, right? So automatically, whatever he buys is good. Rugnus is the Avodah von Tzaddik, welcher hat gemacht wenn sein Arzt zum Hus Gufoi zu Eberstein. Himmel. Please, wird man verstehen, auf Definition von Edon machen Dover, Schleibol the Perisgakel in Avodah Sodom. So now we'll understand in Avodah Hashem why it is that if something doesn't exist, then we can't give over ownership.
178. The top left side.
Any of us halten it by the darge from Kinyan Aguf. Verbal is by Kinyan Peris. If someone is on the level of Benoni, that only Peris, only Kinyan Peris, can nor makne sein, die Machshov is the Burum und Meisum Shaloi Lakarish Barf, aber nicht sein Guf, Sechel mit Shavalevacholo, dar wissen, als ist bekoyach zu Schelet sein durch Milchama Belois, in der Meisum de Burum Chulu, mit welcher vernimmt sich its Bekoyo. Is aber nicht kein Balabos, so kann its makne sein, an Washloi Baloila. What's going on? A person is a person that's a Benoni, so he is actively making sure that he is doing and thinking and talking the way that Hashem wants. Now those machshavas and divurim and maisim, they are a current. They're only a current peiros. They're only an offshoot, an effect of the seichel and midas that they have.
Not the goof itself.
Meaning, right, the guf, which is the seichel and midas of the person, that already happened. Meaning, what caused this possibility for doing the wrong thing? It was based on the seichel based on the guf. Now, what's going to happen in a few minutes? Because the person would still be a Beinoni, the possibility is that there might be a new chance to do the wrong thing, and then he'll need to hold himself back from doing the wrong thing and have to do the right thing. But what's happening currently is really just the peiros, a current thing. Peiros that will be in the future, he doesn't have control over yet because it didn't exist yet. If he were to have control over the tree, well, we'll get there.
A person said, I'm going to stop smoking for, let's say, 1 week. He can't know what's going to happen. He can hold himself, but he cannot.
Right. More because what's causing him to smoke is whatever's causing him to smoke.
Right.
So
We could say
unless he goes to that level of figuring out of taking care of whatever is causing him to smoke, then chances are that whatever that cause will be the same cause tomorrow, and therefore tomorrow also will have control over it. But if it's really he's not getting to the level of dealing with whatever's causing it, which is like the goof, it's really just dealing with the offshoot, the effect, which is the smoke, the current drive to smoke. So then it's just a current thing. Tomorrow will be another drive. Good. B'shas mach is achlota as ba'osid wird ton meiste toiv, was im damit a kinyin nit aufgetan. Was ist nicht die Sicherheit, als der meiste ba'osid wird getan von einem wichtigen Rational ist a matze, was Jochel Achselbein. Right? He doesn't know. Maybe it's going to be more of a push pull tomorrow. Maybe he won't have the as much of a drive to disengage or to have Hashem control it or to let Hashem take over his life. As ein Guf is nit Konel Hashem hutzvatz musu shelo ra'ahu betokvoi. He still has the same urges. Darcher jeder Mal von das Nei Milchama halten mit dem Yetzer Shabalibo Yomoichoi. Nicht so der Losin, as a type of Rotzen da Yetzer is a lot of Meise. So he constantly has to be the buffer between his pull or his push to do the wrong thing. He has to be that buffer between that and the action and the Machshava Divrei Meise. And the Mele Zain.
She was praying with her leak that for every child is son, and going all his life and give one Hashem. It's the same thing with the Klerot. Same thing exactly.
How could she say it? You could always say it. The question is if it's an actual selling. Anyways, it's a hektish. It's hektish. It's hektish anyways. So technically, but you could always say there's a whole I know in Chicago there's called the Mercantile Exchange. I was in 4th grade. We went to the Mercantile Exchange, and then we asked what it was, and they said it's for futures. So now I know what futures is. In 4th grade, I learned what futures is. So they said, "What's futures?" So they said, "How you don't know how much milk." What was it? Was milk? How much milk will cost?
Wheat and corn.
Yeah, something like that. But you could sell the futures. I still don't understand what that means, but that's what I was told. And
Surprised my father knows what it is. I don't even know what futures.
The Mercantile Exchange. It's on right off the L.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Called the L, the elevated train in Chicago. You ever heard?
I don't know.
But, no. You know, we have the L over here. The avenue doors open on the left at Avenue J. Stand clear of the opening doors.
Closing.
The closing doors.
The door is never closing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about yeah. Aber Akaponim is euch, dem was hat noch nicht, dem kann ich so oft in der Medien von Kindergolf. But if you're still only able to hold yourself back from doing the wrong thing, but not to totally construct your psyche. Sie übermachen in ganzen die Mittelstelle Leber zu Shabamayach, as is on sein können Hashem, that it will be that your entire psyche should be in accordance with Hashem. So just like with the halacha that you could get past with a loophole of selling how to sell the peiros that will be in the future is by was as makna guf lepeiros. You're selling the tree which is already in existence, but only the peiros that will be in the future. So you're dealing with the tree that exists, but only so going in the peiros that says and trotzdem du atzmoi kann nicht makna sein lakorish baruch can aber makna sein dem guf below the shechel peiros. So but only the guf that has to do with peiros. So that's bottom down. So the Rebbe explains. What does this mean in Avodah? So now the Avodah from Abinoni, page 4 on the right side, the right column towards the end. As Bore in der Avoide von Abinoni ist nicht begrenzt belois zu seine Levushia Nefesh. When someone is his job is he's a normal an average person. It's not that his work is only to zayin levushia nefesh. It's not that he only needs to work on his action, on his actual action, the actual things that he does. As yeder mol, wenn beliboy bechulu wird nisayr atayve v'rotzen is belois leichen zu vermeiden die spashtus atayve v'rotzen in marshav dibermaisen. It's not just that whenever he wants to eat a cheeseburger, he needs to hold himself back from eating it, and that's his work. Like as a Jew, like that's not really all it is. Or the avoid is of the midas and also has to be that this average person that didn't fully change his psyche to just be totally enamored with Hashem, that he won't even get to want to do something wrong, but still he has to work on it. He still has to work on restructuring his wants and his feelings. As there is so let's say if someone has a bad midah, if someone has an issue with whatever, with anger, let's say. So what? His whole job as a Jew, as doing what Hashem wants, is to constantly hold himself back from being angry. Like that would be kind of silly. Like it's also Hashem also wants the person to not even get angry in the first place, not even want to get angry, like to already think through it that it doesn't make sense to be angry, or whatever else is causing the person to be angry. Also to deal on that level. So, but it's not that he's changing fully his psyche. It's just that it won't get to the level that it's going to be a hard work. It's going to be a hard task to hold himself back from getting to that level. So what does this mean? What's going on?
In our language, it's somebody who make a diet, right, and became skinny.
Yeah.
You still have to hold himself from eating. It's not okay. I pass the time of eating. You still have the time of eating.
Right, but then it gets to a point that the person restructures his life, that it's not just a diet that he's holding himself back from eating, but also whatever is causing him to want to eat in the first place is also negated.
Right.
Meaning then he's taka like a new person. But still there is still a chance, meaning if the person would get to that level of the taiva to eat, he will still need to fight it fully. I mean, it's not like he's a completely changed person.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a completely changed person, but it's
to go back to food to eat a lot.
It's like it's
Rabbi Marash.
It's like there's someone mentioned in a shiur to girls in a seminary that he said that in order to get married, and he was talking to a girl, in order to get married, you have to start loving your mother.
Okay.
And you have to be proud of your mother,
okay.
So, and then if you're proud of your own mother, so then you'll be able to be a mother yourself. So, yeah. So he, so, one of the, one was the loudest, but one of the girls said, "What? I'm gonna love my mother. You know how crazy my mother is."
Right.
So he's like, "Okay, fine. So your mother is nuts. Okay, so what's her life story? Okay, she went through the gulag, or went through Auschwitz for whatever. She doesn't have her parents. Doesn't she lost all her siblings and lost everybody. So of course, so then the mashpia said, like, okay, so now you're a person, you meaning the daughter is a person that if she would go through the same life as her mother, so she would also act the same way. But so what does she have to know? That she has to know that she has the capacity to be like that if she was in such a scenario. Now, hopefully, she won't be. With Hashem's help, won't go through that, and the biggest proof is that she herself can't stand that about her mother, meaning why? Because it's so outlandish to act that way. She knows that it's wrong. The daughter knows that the way her mother is acting is wrong. Like let's say she's so anxious or scared or whatever, but because she has a life that's different. She didn't go through the whatever her mother went through. But at least she should know that meaning in the psyche, meaning in her guf, meaning the capacity to act certain ways. Yes, she does have the capacity to be that way, but not that she'll actually act that way. Meaning, so that's like what we're saying, that there's such an union of the guf. The guf is the guf, and then but then there's still the guf in connection to the Paris, meaning there's the guf itself, then the guf that's connected to the Paris. So that would be like the person in the daughter's life, she will act a certain way, hopefully in a healthy way to her children. But that's
Wait a second.
if
Can I ask you a question?
sure.
If the mother, whoever she was, what happened, was a depressed, extremely depressed person, clinically depressed. The mother was depressed. She never gave affection to the child. I'm making good, I'm spicy it. She
Okay.
never held the child, hugged her, and tell her I love you.
Right.
So this girl grows up. You could think about it, but how is she going to tell her children I love you if she never was hugged herself?
Right.
I understand.
Oh, that's a very good question.
If she wasn't, you understand,
That's a very good question. How is it possible? So then how is the daughter gonna, or maybe the truth is probably the mother is also had a mother. Also had a mother. I'm saying the daughter,
because she didn't get it. She said,
right.
I'm not going to let my
And
kid.
it's hard.
I'm not going to let my kid to be that way. I'm going to opposite.
But she's not passive.
Fine. But
No, that's not true. Not that she doesn't have. She does have. There is the truth is that a person has the capacity to even go to that level. That's the truth. Meaning that's the truth. Because that's besides there's a choice. That's a person's choice. How to like everything could be a catalyst one way or the other. Like if someone wants, the person could say no, I'm going to be exactly like my just as nuts as my parents, or we could say the opposite. That's the choice. But even without that, the truth is that the capacity to mother or the capacity to father is more than just how our parents are. Meaning because the mere fact that the parents were a certain way was not that they're inherently this is inherently motherly to not be affectionate to children. That's to their own children. That's not inherently motherly, right? So now the child, the daughter, also is now becoming the motherly figure to her children. So she still has the capacity. Now, for sure, it's hard. It's much harder because there's no what's going to be the catalyst, right? It'll be so much easier. But even then, like then it could be the other way around. Like if whatever, you could always complain if you want. You could. It feels good. You could always complain.
In a camp from Zabocha, and then you have a day that the parents coming.
Right.
Visiting day.
Visiting day. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The camps day.
Yeah, but on the fan,
Whatever. Good. Those are the counselors.
They see the parents.
Okay.
So the daughter has to learn for the mother. But she live and surround her. She see all her friends hugging the kids, and this you can learn from them. The mother did not do
Whatever. Each person has. So no. This is the point.
There's a trend. There's a parents. We're going back to the trend.
Right. So the Yetzer Hara is telling the person that no, my parents are a certain way, so I have to be just as I can't be any better. That's the Yetzer Hara. That's the Yetzer Hara of a Beinoni. But then the Beinoni could even get to the level that no, this is I'm a Jew. This is how I'm taking on
Yeah,
and this is who I am. Good. I identify as a Jew. Right. Not as a Chicagoan or a New Yorker or even a Flatbushian.
I'm Israeli. People say I'm Israeli. I'm not a Jew. I'm Israeli.
I was yeah,
You're a Jew. And I'm Israeli.
and I'm proud. Good. Where are we up to? Yeah, so the Alter Rebbe is Behar as B'shas Tefillah. Oh, the Beinoni is not just a Beinoni during the day when he's at work or wherever. He's also a Beinoni when he goes to daven. Now, what does the Beinoni do when he goes to daven? It's a Beinoni ma'orer by zich avos Hashem is galus liboy. He actually gets to start loving in his heart Hashem. Was das heult, dass der Rasha beliebe soll demalt sein ka'adam sheyashem. He loves Hashem so much that the drive to do something against Hashem is as if it's asleep. Und auch die Avel Hashem, Shasat Tefillah, lost über Aroshim, Eifen Adam, was gibt ihm a koyach v'tegel is gabriel ishlut ala rahaze hamisavet haive. So then when he finishes davening and he goes to the rest of the week, the rest of the day, it leaves a what do you say it, a residue, an impression, yeah, on the rest of the day. On the rest of the day, it won't even get to the level that his Yetzer Hara will be so powerful that you'll even have an urge to do the wrong thing. Is by im mitan epis. It's fully when the person gets to the level through the rest of the different parts of davening till he finally gets to Shema of Avtas Hashem Leikecha. The person actually gets to the level of loving Hashem that it's fully true. But Svasem is Tikkun La'ad, and when something is true, it's everlasting. Our Bekoyach zu Ma'ir sein Ot di Aval Hashem durch dem ein Schlepperin dem Rasha Believai. It gets to the level that the rest of the day is automatically encompassed in it. So it gets to a point where he could restructure his schema, right? His hierarchy of truths.
Exactly.
If anyone knows
you go to the
psychotherapy,
give you a shot to sleep the nose. The nose is there, we're just sleeping. The Yetzer constantly giving a shot to the Benoni giving a shot to the Yetzer.
Right, it's a coping mechanism. It's just a part of being a human, trying to be alive. Yeah, it's all from Hashem, anyways. And das geht that Tosefes biur in them was the Alter Rebbe sagt. What does he say? As the Alter Rebbe actually mentions that when the Beinoni is davening and he gets to this Abbas Hashem, he's even right now he's in a state that he'll never do something wrong again.
Control the future also.
Yeah, right. Very good. Like we were talking in the halach, the Paris, which will be lo yaver lo ilam. It didn't exist yet, right? He's already making a achlata on what's happening in the future. As ich beosset wird sicher kennen Chelek sein auf den Yetzer Hara und nicht von keiner Wege. Right. Balabin hat Shlita, page 18 or page 5. Balabin hat Shlita. Do we need to finish?
No.
When is who's the
At least
person that's davening for Almond? Is he here?
He's not here yet.
He's not here yet. Okay.
Right.
We could stop wherever it is. It's the rest is just adding on. We already got to the meat and potatoes of or whatever it is, Franks and Blinks, the kishke, the pizza and French fries.
Some dessert.
So now we need some dessert. Afikoimen.
Good.
We need some space for the afikoimen. Weil Benoni hat Shlita, ich auf dem Midis für Chulu von dem Yetzer Hara. Nor nicht auf dem Etzem am Midishkishalatzmon. Now, but biachas to Zeris Pashtus Peris and Machshava Divina Maisa. Right. So a person does have does have power over his intellect and his feelings. Meaning some bad emotion that the person has, the person could actually get to a point that this feeling won't inherently cause an action.
He doesn't bring himself to this level.
Right.
He controls.
Right. He can even control. He can't control that he won't think or he won't feel.
No, the minute the shoulder comes to him, it's right away.
Oh, that also.
Doesn't
Right.
let it for a second to.
Right, that also, yeah. Und das ist der von Maknikuf, für die Peres von Rabbi des Adam. A viele Oid, man halt nicht bei der Darge zu können übermachen dem Ätzem von dem Midisch, Liboy. Also so Bechlal, nicht haben kein Taibes, that will have no urges, ist es aber bekeuchet zu Heul sein, a vier Chulu, auf seinen Midis, a kavam Mashachas zu sehr Spastus, Guf the Peres. So at least the person could keep it in check. Und that will sein euch peroisov, and then it'll get to a point that that his actions, anything that is caused through these urges, is in a matzah from loyaber that won't even have a possibility, and will never get to a point that the person will actually do something incorrectly. And under Vetter maintenance.
With the horses that went to heaven and said, you can't control his machshavas. So he said, go to this Tzaddik, he'll tell you how to do it. It was really far away. It took him like a whole week to get the winter time. Finally gather, he knock on the door. I see people from the window, you see people inside the house walking back and forth, but nobody opened the door for him. Then again, he knock on the door. He almost freeze, it was 12 o'clock at night. Finally, the guy opened the door and said, oh, come in, I'll give you soup. So what you did? I saw you inside the house. Why didn't you open the door right away? So I could control who come into my house on men and when. You could control your machshava, you know. Good stuff. Yes, it's really that's the old story.
Yeah, in under Vetter maintenance. So the Rebbe is gonna say it in other words. This is actually a Sicha based on two different Sichos. So it's actually interesting. It would be cool to see the original Farbrengens and how they connected the two Sichos. So maybe this is like in other words, meaning it's a different Sicha. Auf wie als nicht jeder kann zukommen zu der Darge von Eved Hashem, was Kufik, Kornil Hashem, it's not that his psyche is fully Hashem's, it's aber jeder Yid a Shliach. Oh, usually when the Rebbe talks about a Shliach, the Rebbe is talking about a Shliach of the Rebbe.
Different kind of Eved. Yeah, Eved to Hashem.
Eved a Shliach, but the Rebbe now talks about being a Shliach of Hashem. So interesting. Yeah, der Schleach von Eberstein. Was hat die Kirche durchzuführen, Kavanas Abril, als es drinnen. The whole point why we were created is L'Shamashes Koinoi, to do what Hashem wants, to become an ambassador of the divine into the lowliest of the world. We are actually like Hashem. We are his ambassadors. Like the Rebbe mentioned many times, as a hechster oifen shlichus is, as nit nor ma'isa shlich oder afilu der koich asiyo shalei. It's not just that whatever he does is zich misyachis to mishaleach is connected or is dealt with in the manner of the one that sent him. Nor close mitziusay shliach is kamois adam shaliach mamash. But on the highest level, it would be that the shliach, the ambassador, is actually as if it's the person himself. So now, automatically, all of his actions are like the Moshelech Narafa became. But the truth is das nit bedumatzu an Evet. It's not like he's a slave. Was his nit came metzius b'fnei atzmi klal. It's not like he doesn't have any existence. Kol Gufo is Konel Rabbi because his entire existence is under it belonged to his master. Ashenga by a shliach, but by a messenger, a feeling them hechsten from shliach, even though the highest level of which would be him as the Meshaleach himself was a shliach atzmi, but still the shliach himself. Nit nor sein Maisa oder Koyachasiya is Kamaisa Dama Shaliach Mamish. It's not just that his actions and it's not just his actions as Kamaisa Dama Shaliach Mamish is in congruence Is that the word? Is wow, okay. Is it make Yossi Rabbi Bassim happy? Is a snore b'shayches to them in a shlichis. Adarch beguf l'pereisav omnipur l'gel l'shar in yonav. So then it would still be just in regards to whatever his job is, right? It's not that if he clocks out, so to speak, of his work, so then he's not being a shliach at that. He's not that he's not being a shliach at that point, but whatever he's doing is not part of the shlichus. If you would think so. Kumta says, jeder Jid hat dem Kerzer übergeben, soll es mit Ziusse zum Ebersten oif sein a shliach Hashem drupsefin kamanus sabriya. We have the capability to act as Hashem wants.
It could be more
in
than
this,
from Hashem. It could be a shliach from Hashem.
right. Der Kino Klolis Akopanu bei Evenschall, Bifel Presu, werden wir davon Mela all seine Proteus Yosef. Right? If we identify as Hashem's messengers to this world, so automatically anything we do will be according to what Hashem wants, because we're that's our purpose. So that's as if that would be like getting to the level where the Beinoni isn't constantly working on holding himself back from doing the wrong thing, because it's his identity. He already identifies as Hashem's messenger to the world. So then automatically all these things will be done in the correct manner. But, is he actually
Akno, ani makne.
is to buy, to sell,
Buying and selling. It's called akno.
to like koine, right? Kinyan.
Not kin'a.
Akno.
So sound like
It means it's talking about if we're giving ourselves over to Hashem,
Not only the payers.
not just like we're actually going to do something that Hashem wants, but we also want to get to the level where we're even inclined to do the correct thing. Not just that we're holding ourselves back from doing the wrong thing, but we're already identifying as Hashem's people. And then automatically, if we're Hashem's people, then we'll do the right thing, because that's what our identity is.
No. You see it constantly on him. It's
Right.
not Hashem.
it says kona evet, kona revo. Kona evet.
Right, but the problem with the Eved is that he doesn't have his own Metzias.
Right.
So then he's not,
Shayach to the-
but Hashem wants us to have our Metzias and then to give our Metzias over to Hashem. So Atzlacha Rabbah in continuing our work in Sfiras Omer. So then how many days left? We didn't count yet. We don't count how many days left till Shavuos. We just know how many days we've been counting. Right? I was about to ask how many days left till Shavuos, but we don't ask that question. We don't ask that
Say
question.
La Omer, not Baal.
My wife wants to
like Baal, start cooking.
Right.
I still have like two friends that are like
Okay.
about to get here.
Um,
Can we stall like
nice to
for
see
1 minute?
you, David. How's Florida?
Baruch Hashem. Yesterday was 14 days to Shavuos. Okay?
Okay, Atzlacha Rabbah, you got to
Where's
start
Around?
cooking. Don't forget to cook for Shavuos. It's very important.
I may spend Shavuos in
Bagels and
Chicago, in
West Rogers Park or Skokie?
West Rogers Park.
Very nice. If you
but
go to
my-
Bnei Ruvain, send regards.
Who was that?
If you go to Bnei Ruvain, Congregation Bnei Ruvain on
Yeah,
Devon
that's-
Avenue,
That's
Devon and
where
Whipple.
that's where I davened. My
My
niece.
bris was there. My bar mitzvah was there. Everything.
No, it's
My
Chicago.
niece.
But
My niece Malka Sora is moving from, or maybe she's moved from Skokie to Teaneck because she became
boy.
she became the new editor, the main editor of the JPS, Jewish
Oh.
Publication Society.
right. Okay,
that's-
have a great
that's
night. It's a Myra
Philadelphia-
right now. I'm gonna
That's
need a.
Philadelphia. All right.
Okay, have a great night.
Yeah, thank
Nice
you
to
very
see you,
much.
David.
Thank you. Yashikoa.